The peace talks on Ukraine and Abu Dhabi have barely wrapped up, and the next meeting is already being scheduled. However, Russia has complicated the process by adding new non-negotiable demands. Joining me in the studio is political analyst Michael Sheitelman. Michael, welcome. Good evening.
Good evening, Natalia.
Michael, so we have, as a result of these negotiations, we have a good news. 157 Ukrainian prisoners of war have been brought back home. But at the same time, thousands of Ukrainian soldiers and civilians are still held in Russian captivity. And meanwhile, Russia has put forward new demands that both Ukraine and the United States, as I understood it, should recognize Donbas as Russian territory. So these are clearly not negotiable for Ukraine. Is this how do you consider it? How do you see it as a classical tactic, not just to raise the price so high that no agreement becomes possible for everyone?
No, we never had an old agreement. Then it is difficult to speak about new agreement, but we never had an old one. And yesterday's news, not today's, after the second day of meeting in Abu Dhabi, but yesterday's news from State Secretary of United States. And he said that he has a couple of news, one bad and one good, yeah? And he said the good news, we have just few disagreements between Ukrainians and Russians, just few disagreements. But the bad news, that they are major ones. So, you know, all of this statement by Marco Rubio makes all the optimistic reports absolutely senseless. Because we during last 4 years, we have a few disagreements, but major ones. Russians, they want that Ukraine just will disappear and they will join all the Ukrainian territory, and Ukraine wants not to see any Russians on our territory, never. And this is very only one disagreement totally. And if we make the list of disagreements, so I believe that Ukrainian list will consist of 3 or 4 points. First is we want absolute to pull out Russian forces, military forces from Ukrainian territory. This is first. Second is reparation, which is also, by the way, the part of a United Nations decision that Russia should pay the reparation for Ukraine. And number 3 is war criminal who will go to the court in Hague or in Ukraine. And number 4 is release of Ukrainian children and Ukrainian civil prisoners and war prisoners. That's it. This is only 4 disagreements. We want only these 4 points, and Russians don't want them. How many points Russians have, and now I am not joking, this is very serious, we don't know exactly what Russian wants. We never heard that from official sources. Just never. Again, I will be journalist now. I will ask you, where from you heard about the recognition of Donbas? Could you say me?
That's American side.
Okay, American side, but who personally?
I think Steve.
Steve, yeah, okay. So American side says that Russians want us to recognize Donbas as Russian territory. But we never heard it from Russians. We never heard it from Russians.
Never.
Yeah, exactly. Like we heard from Steven Witkoff that Russians want us to withdraw Ukrainian troops from Donbas, but we never heard it from Russians. And we heard from not from Steven Witkoff, but from American sources, let's say, because in this case, I also couldn't say that Steven Witkoff exactly said that, that Russia will stop war. Russia will stop war immediately after we pull out our military forces from Donbas. We never heard it from Russians. So we don't know what is Russians' wish list about this war. We heard a lot of different, I don't know, theses from Putin or from Peskov or from Lavrov, foreign minister, but we never saw exact list of, okay, let's say 100 wishes or 1,000 wishes, but we never heard and we never seen that and we never received that. So we don't know what exactly to discuss. We could change it every day because we don't have any written version. And our written version is very simple. And all of these points which I brought now, they did not change from 2022, when we just organized this peace meeting in Switzerland. Okay, it was organized in 2023, but the idea was in 2022, and the peace plan was in 2022, and all of these points did not change during 4 years. So our demand just did not change during 4 years. And Russians, when every day bring some new points on the table. Why? Obviously, because they don't want to stop war. That's it.
Yeah, just 2 days ago, I think, Peskov said that nothing has changed in their main goal of SVO, and they just want to reach the final goal. And the final goal, we know, that's complete capitulation of Ukraine. That's it. If to speak about what we hear from Russia, nothing has changed, as you said. And, you know, Michael, it's ironically very sad. While the talks were happening in Abu Dhabi, I was going home or going to work, and there is an air raid siren sound every time. And I'm like, why we have any negotiations when we still hear the siren sound? So it means like everything is pointless.
When you brought the quote of Mr. Peskov, press secretary of Putin's speaker, so he said more than just we need all our targets, our goals of SVO. When he was asked, is it your goal that Ukraine will withdraw the troops from Donbass and the war will stop? He said, yes, it is our goal that Ukraine will withdraw troops from Donbass, but this is not enough. We have a lot of another points. And the journalist asked him which kind of another points. And he said, but it is our secret. We will not bring any another points. We never say it openly what is our demand to Ukraine. This is the direct citation, direct quote from Mr. Peskov. So it is very difficult to negotiate something. About the pointless of negotiation, I rather agree. And exactly if we are speaking about negotiation in Abu Dhabi, so Russians, they need that just to show to the world, and especially to the United States, that they want peace. That's it. And that was their Russians' idea, to make working group about security. And they brought this idea in Istanbul negotiation track in summer 2025. And Ukraine delegation said, okay, but we don't understand what exactly what do you mean? And they brought it again in a meeting between Putin and Witkoff, and this is the reason why it happens now. And you could pay attention that it happens once in a couple of weeks or once a month. So what changes during this month? Or what changes during this couple of weeks? Nothing, just nothing. So why we need this break between one meeting and another meeting? Anything would change or what? Not clear again. So the only practical reason of this meeting is release of war prisoners, and it happened today. This was good news. And maybe, but I'm not sure, that this delegation, because from Russian side, we don't have any political delegation. So we don't have any politician, any representative of President Putin. We have some military guys who are not representatives of Russian authorities. We're just military guys. We're representatives of Russian army and not Russian authorities. So maybe they negotiate, and we heard the rumors, at least from the negotiation room, that we negotiate some cooperation in front line. It sounds like oxymoron, I understand, but cooperation in front line, why we need that? Because front line, it cut the Ukrainian regions like Kherson region, Zaporozhye region, etc., and in different into part of these regions from both sides of front line, leaves families which was also disconnected by this front line. And now, in just on daily basis, we want to help to these families when, for example, parents on occupied territory and children's they are not on occupied territory, and children want to help to parents to survive in Russian occupation, because Ukrainians who live in Russian occupation, they don't receive any medicine, they don't receive any food, anything. So Ukrainians who in Ukrainian territory, not occupied territory, they want to help, and they need this, let's say, this is not cross-border cooperation, cross-frontline cooperation, but that is the only result.
Yeah, Michael, you're right, absolutely, because returning the prisoners of war and to cooperate regarding stolen Ukrainian children, that's also a big issue for Ukraine. So yes, but you know, I was just recalling this morning, I opened the last publications. No, it was just performance of Steve Witkoff in Davos. And I opened it. And there was the last sentence he said, and there was, "It's soon gonna be done, I hope." And he just passed the microphone. No, meaning the negotiation. I'm like, he's so sure it's soon gonna be done. I mean, these narratives, and then the General Secretary of NATO, Mark Rutte, said something the same in Davos, and I was just listening again. I'm like, who's giving you what signs giving you that confidence?
That confidence is part of play, part of negotiation, I believe, and especially for Steven Witkoff, for example. If just imagine. And Steven Witkoff comes to President Trump and says, you know, I don't see any perspective in the next year or 2 years or 3 years. I believe that Steven Witkoff will be immediately sacked from his position of special envoy. Yeah? And he wants to survive in Trump administration because this is his personal business. We don't know who is Steven Witkoff, by the way. We heard from at the beginning that he is developer and he is businessman, and he is billionaire. So he should make some business, obviously, yeah, for being billionaire and for being businessman and for being developer. He should make a business. But what is the list of his tasks last week, for example? He negotiated in Abu Dhabi our problem, our war. Tomorrow he has a negotiation in Oman between Iranians, and America, some Gulf states. This is also his job. On Monday, he had a negotiation about Hamas and Gaza Strip and Israel, and also he has a part, and he is the main negotiator between Denmark and United States about Greenland. This is also his new position. And he has a position as a negotiator with Armenia and Azerbaijan about the trip corridor between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and he was appointed by President Trump. And he is a member of Peace Advisory Board in Gaza Strip, not the worldwide Peace Advisory Board, but in Gaza Strip. So it is too many. And by the way, he said that he never get the money for that, and he pays for all the visits, and he pays for gasoline for his private jet. And you know, private jet also cost money. So the question, then he got money at all. What is his business? And if we don't see the business, so obviously I could suggest that this is his business. That this peace negotiation, this is his business. He's just making money on that.
How?
Okay, we heard, for example, the idea of Americans, then Zaporizhia nuclear station will, after the peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, will produce electricity, and 30% of this electricity will be American electricity. And this American electricity will go to some data centers which will produce bitcoins or some another cryptocurrency. And this idea brought Witkoff and Kushner. And as you know, President Trump said that he is the crypto tycoon and his son is the head of cryptocurrency business. And just this week in Wall Street Journal, we have a publication about cryptocurrency business of President Trump and how they sold to Saudi Arabia this 50% of this cryptocurrency business, and $200 million of this sum was sent to the personal account of Steven Witkoff, for example. It is just example. This is just example. Because in any of these negotiations, there is a business part. In Greenland, they are speaking about some security and military bases, but somehow on the side they also speak about the minerals of Greenland, and that America has some right to minerals of Greenland, of Denmark territory. And who is the official representative of President Trump? Again, Steven Witkoff and Jared Kushner. And who is, generally speaking, who is Jared Kushner, by the way? Who is this guy? He's just a family member of President Trump. What else? He has some experience in international affairs. I don't know. And what is his role in negotiation? And why he has not any official role, but he is present in each negotiation group, each day, in every format. Why? What is happening? So he's businessman or what? Also, we heard that he's just businessman and just a developer. So we are seeing the negotiation when two businessmen, they organize the negotiation between political side, between different countries. So they should have a business interest in this.